Open your Bibles, if you will, to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And we'll begin reading with verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, and I think most of you know the word charity there is in 1611 it meant love, and it was translated because the words were synonymous. In our day, charity has come to mean a charitable organization that helps people who are too lazy to work, or charity has a different meaning today than what it did in 1611 when it was translated. So when Paul wrote, if I have not charity, he's using the word that we understand, if I have not love, and not the physical, sexual, perverted love, but the God kind of love. So if I don't have love, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Years ago, my wife and I had not been married very long, and we were living in a trailer at that time, and our next door neighbor liked to play the guitar. And because of the walls and everything, all we heard was the lower bass notes, and it was... That's all we heard. And after a while, that's why I'm crazy. It just drove me there. If you don't have love, that's how you sound. That's how you get on people's nerves. That's how you affect people. You're just a sounding brass. Bang, bang, bang. And most of us would agree that's not very good. Moving on. Though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. John said, I have no greater joy than to know that my children became president of the local university. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children became, the president of John said, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Amen. In truth. Charity rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth. Whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. You know what children like to talk about? I used this illustration the other night at our church. You know, what do babies do when they're hungry? Wah! Hey, I woke up everyone that was dozing, but children think only about themselves. They are self-centered, self-focused. But when I was a child, I acted like a child. But when I became an adult, I put away childish things. Now, some of you know Brother Chuck Hunt. He's a friend of mine up in our area. Years ago, he and I were traveling to a Bible conference together. I think it was here or Frankfurt, one or the other. And we were talking about this passage, and I was telling Brother Gordon last night at dinner, you know, over the last couple of years, I have become dogmatic on interpretation. Our church, I've said it so many times, all I have to do is ask our people, what are the 3 rules of interpretation? What are they? Context, context, and context. Context of the chapter and verse. What precedes that verse? What follows that verse? The context of that chapter, the context of that book. The second is the context of the whole Bible. You know, no verse is ever going to is ever going to contradict another verse. And the third one is the historical context. Why did Paul write what he wrote? Now, if we look at the context of this verse, he's not talking about when I get to heaven, I'm going to know more. The context is love. When I was a baby, I didn't know what love was. I was self-centered. When I was a baby, it was all about me. But when I became an adult, I should put away those things. As a baby, I heard love, I saw love, but it was through a glass dark. Not heaven, but talking about love. When now I see through a glass darkly, but then when I grow up, and the context is, you know, when I was a child, when I became a man, I grew up, and now I understand love in a totally different sequence. Totally different. My love for my wife, when we got married, well, I'm going to move on from that one. But you know what? Over the years, I had to learn what love was. When I got married, it was about me. But as we've been married over 51 years now, it isn't about me. So we grow up. That's not my sermon, but I want to throw that in because so many times we read a verse, and I have heard it, oh, when we get to heaven, we're going to... No, he's talking about love here and now, the difference between a child and an adult. But let's go on with my outline. And Brother Gordon and I were talking last night. I got 40 minutes, and I can't chase every rabbit that comes up. So I'm going to try to stay within the constraints of the schedule. Up home, when I first moved to Florence, I would get up in the morning and watch the news, and I did watch Fox, brother, I'm sorry. I would turn on the news, and I would watch the local news to see if there had been anything exciting in Cincinnati. Oh, somebody got shot, and said, wow, that was very unusual. It was back 32 years ago. Now you get up not to see if somebody got shot, but how many got shot. Totally different world. Now, I know down here in Lexington, y'all don't have that problem. You don't have shootings. You don't have killings. You don't have rape. You don't have pedophilia. You don't have any of those things that we have in the big city up north. But I can sum all of that up by saying we are seeing the results of a lack of biblical love. You don't see it. Somebody that would take a gun and go bang, 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 does not have a love for anyone else. And so what we see is the result of not doing and practicing what Paul wrote here in Corinthians. I find that even good, moral, sound, doctrinally straight, caring, giving people many times have no concept of biblical love. That's why you see churches fighting. That's why you see preachers fighting. That's why you see preachers breaking fellowship. I'm not talking about doctrine. If you go universal church, this will be the last time I ever get to preach for you, and it'll be the last time you ever invite me. There are some doctrines that are foundational. We will not compromise on. But so many times, the reason I pick on, not you, I like you. So many times the reason I pick on people is because I really don't love them the way I said. You know, my wife, bless her heart, she is not perfect. Boy, is she not perfect. But you know what? Over 52 years, our love is to the point I don't pay a lot of attention to her faults. She's still got a few, and occasionally she'll backslide, and I have to preach her back in the right way, you know. But I see today preachers who are so mean. They are mean. It's like, what's wrong? What's going on here? Some people seem to think that love is a let me get the right words here. It is a feel-good, fuzzy feeling that you feel all over. Oh, I'm in love. Are you like that? No? Okay. Why is it today when you talk about love, people immediately think you're talking about sexual love? Oh, I love her. No, you lust her. Big difference. You know, I was talking recently, and the Bible said, greet one another with a holy kiss. Why is it we are so scared to even hug each other? Why is it that we are so afraid to show and demonstrate biblical love, especially among the family of God? Now, I was called to a home many years ago in another state. Young couple in our church called me one day and said, can you come down and talk to us? Well, I don't know how. I said, sure. I went down and we sat down at the kitchen table. And they said, you're our pastor. We wanted you to be the first to know. We're filing for divorce. And I said, why? Well, we fell out of love. And I looked at him and I said, you didn't fall out of love. You killed it. Personally, I don't know why either one of them married the other. They deserved each other is all I could figure out. I said, and I looked at the wife and I said, why did you marry him in the first place? Oh, he used to bring me flowers, and he used to do this, and he used to do that. He used to tell me he loved me. And then I looked at him and I said, why on earth did you marry her? Oh, she used to do. I said, I found the problem. You stop demonstrating biblical love, and when you stop demonstrating it, it does dissipate, and there's no such thing as falling out of love. Now, let's get into what love is. In verses 1 through 3, Paul gives us the superiority of love. And I have to be careful because, Brother White, would you be my bodyguard when I get through? Okay. Doctrine is important, very important. But doctrine without love will make you obnoxious. I am doctrinally sound. Well, if you're doctrinally sound, I want no part of what you've got. Though I speak 15 different languages fluently. Oh, boy, he's a great missionary. But if he does it without love, he's a loud, cantankerous noise. Though I have the gift of prophecy, I can tell you everything that's going to happen in the future. That's how spiritual I am. I understand every mystery in the Bible. I have all knowledge. I know everything. Have you ever met somebody that thought they knew everything? Though I have all faith so that I could say to that mountain, move out of my way, and it would immediately move. Wow, what a great preacher he is. If he doesn't have biblical love, he is nothing. Nothing. Though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, what a great sacrificial person he is. Though I give my body to be burned, if I don't have love, it doesn't earn me one iota of grace with God. Verses 1 through 3, the superiority of love. Verses 4 through 7, love in action. How many of you remember your high school English? Well, yeah, you just graduated. All right, those of us 60 and up, how many of us remember our high school English? Do you know the difference between an adjective and an adverb? Some of you are looking, oh, what is an adjective and an adverb? An adjective describes a person, place, or thing. That is a nice suit you have on. An adverb describes action. Jesus sat with the disciples. That's action. An adverb describes that action. So let's read it with that in mind. In verse 4, love is patient. Now, it's not sitting there and thinking, That's not patience, folks. Patience is putting patience in action. It is action. Love is action. It suffereth long. And it demonstrates it in action. It's kind. In other words, it does kind things to other people. I remember some of us, does anybody remember Brother Berlin Heisel besides me? Brother Heisel, I heard him preach at a conference, and he was preaching on kindness and so forth. And he said that when he was growing up, he was always taught to cut the tail of a cat off in short pieces so you didn't hurt it all at once. You had to know Brother Heisel to get that one. Love does kind deeds to other people. It goes out of its way to demonstrate kindness to others. Not only that, but it is not jealous. I have said this at our church many times. If somebody gets a new car, I rejoice that they were allowed of God to get a new car. It's like, it should not be. Man, they got a 24. Mine's only a 23. I am so jealous of them. Love truly is not jealous when God blesses someone else. I've said many times, God gives me everything He can trust me with. So if He doesn't give me any more, that means He knows that if He gave me more, it would not be beneficial. It would be harmful. And so love is not jealous when God blesses someone else. Moving on down, it not only is envieth not, it doesn't vaunt itself. Have you ever met somebody that they could take any conversation in the world and turn it around to them? Oh, isn't the weather beautiful? Oh, let me tell you, when I was in the hospital, it rained every day. You know, you're laughing. You all know somebody like that. You could be talking about the sovereignty of God, and somehow they'll turn it around and they end up vaunting themselves, promoting themselves, and telling you all about themselves. Love is more interested in you than it is me. I've said that a good conversation is I talk, you listen, you talk, I listen. It's not one person dominating the conversation. Love does not promote itself. Love is not easily puffed up. I want you to know you offended me, and I'm not speaking to you again for the rest of my life. And he just said, amen, hallelujah. True love is not proud of me. True love does not puff me up. It doesn't make me brag about what God has done in and through me. Me is not puffed up. It doesn't behave itself unseemly. Now, I am told that the word unseemly, and I'm not a Greek scholar. If you are, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. But I'm told the word unseemly means in a vulgar, shameful, reproachful way. True love does not do anything that would be vulgar. Would not be anything that would shame me or my church. It's not my church, but the church I pastor. It does not behave itself in a shameful, reproachful manner. It seeketh not her own. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? No. Love doesn't care what's in it for me. True love is, how can I help you? What can I do for you? This is so uncommon. It is so no 21st century that it's almost unseen and unheard of in many of our churches. Because we are trained from birth to me. But love seeketh not her own. It seeketh the good of others more than me. Is not easily provoked. I knew of a preacher. He's dead now, and I'm never happy when anybody dies, but God did the world a favor. I'm not trying to be funny. This guy was so easily provoked that if you coughed in front of him, he would take it as an insult and be offended. He would get mad over everything. Love is, brother, I'm not saying you will never offend me, but you're going to have to do a much better job than you've done in the last few years. It takes a lot to make me mad. Love isn't easily provoked. You know what's wrong with a lot of marriages today? I asked you to put the dishes up, and you didn't even put the dishes up. I just mopped the floor, and you walked on that nice clean floor with your dirty shoes. That's what goes on in a lot of homes. That's why marriages, or the divorce rate among Christians is, at least the last statistics I read, were higher. Divorce was higher among Christian people than worldly people. You know what's wrong? They're not practicing biblical love. Thinketh no evil. I wonder what he meant by that. What did he mean by that? So I said, I've been asked over the years, didn't that offend you? What? Well, you know what? I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice it. I'm not looking to be offended. I'm not looking to find some hidden meaning. I'm not always analyzing to find out why you don't like me. That's your loss. Go for it. But genuine love thinketh no evil. Oh, if you had been in the kitchen this morning, you would have seen me hug quite a few people. Men and ladies. Sexual pervert. He was hugging women. I can assure you my thoughts were as pure as can be. I was simply demonstrated I love these people. Why can't we do that today without being accused of being a sexual-holic or some sexual pervert? Why is it that we have to have a hidden meaning on everything that everybody does? We have to look and find a hidden meaning that somehow is perverted. I guess I'm a homosexual because I hugged you this morning. Yeah, I'm maybe I better clarify that. You don't have to be perverted to hug a brother in Christ and say, brother, I love you. You don't have to be perverted to go to another lady and say, I love you in the Lord. Why are we so afraid of demonstrating the kind of love that the Bible teaches? Tell you, that would stop, I started to say 99%, but I'm going to go higher. That would stop 100% of church splits, church fights, firing the preacher. That would go 100% if we just stopped and said, you know what, Brother Gordon, you're not perfect. But I love you so much that I can overlook your imperfections. What's wrong with that? Well, moving on. Rejoiceth not in iniquity. Oh, I hate that guy. Do you know he had an accident and is paralyzed? Really? Yes! Oh, no, we would never do that. Oh, yes, we maybe. But there are a lot of people that would rejoice when something bad happens to somebody they don't like. It does not rejoice in iniquity, but it rejoices when the truth is presented. You know, it rejoices when Christ is exalted. It rejoices when truth is presented and stood for. It beareth all things. To bear means to endure, to sustain. I thought of what Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 6. He said, bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Brother, I noticed you seem a little down. Can I help carry your load? Not to broadcast, not to gossip, not to tell the whole world, but simply to be there to bear one another's burdens. Why can't we do that? Why can't we say, no strings attached? Can I help you? Or better yet, what can I do to help you? If you ask, can I help you, you're going to get 100% no. But if you say, what can I do? You may get an answer. But it's like, oh, that poor lady, I feel so sorry for her. Well, then stop feeling sorry and do something. Help her. Believeth all things. Did you hear what Brother Ross did? I can't believe he did that. No, love is, you know what? I don't believe you because I know Brother Ross. I know he would not. It believes all things, not lies, but it believes all things in truth. You tell me Brother Murner did something, it's like, you know what? I love him enough. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Instead of saying, really? I didn't know that. Whoa, hold on. Did you know what Brother Murner just did? No. We believe all things in relationship to the truth. Charity never faileth. You know, this Love You Today, somebody said that many Christians are like, what is it, daisies? He loved me not. He loved me not. Sometimes we as Christians act like that. I love you, but the first thing you ever do to hurt me, it's over. No, we endure because you know what? I've got enough faults of my own. I'm thankful when people endure me and my faults. True love never fails. It'll never fail. 52 years, somebody asked me, you know, at this point, people say, what's the secret? In 52 years, have I always had that fuzzy feeling with my wife? No. Somebody said, did you ever think about divorce? No, never. Murder, suicide a few times, but never divorce. Love. You think I'm kidding. Love faileth not. My wife and I have not always had that fuzzy-wuzzy feeling. But our love and commitment to each other remains the same. It remains the same. Well, I've got a new house. That new house will someday fade. I've got a new job. That job will someday come to an end. But true love will last through everything. Through everything. God help us, Brother Spears.